to our show. Today we are pleased to welcome Roz Tay, a very special guest. Roz is a strategist on mindset and has also authored numerous videos on how to navigate in turbulent times. And today she'll be sharing with us her expert opinion on depression and tools we can use to navigate to make the shift. So without further ado, help me welcome Roz. Roz, welcome to the show. So you've done quite a bit. You've done summits, you've done videos, you continue to just pour in so much of yourself. So how does that feel in doing all this?
Well, I would say that in sharing my experience, it's that I actually get to kind of like maximize the benefit of my suffering, in that, by using my experience, sharing my experience with other people, I think it gives people handles of how to go through it if they're going through it the first time, or if they are not able to make sense of what they're going through, that I can give them some handles, some strategies as to how best they can navigate depression.
I see. So we know that there are over 264 million people that are currently depressed, and it varies. Some could be chronic and some could be mild. So how can one help if their loved one is depressed, and is there a way to know if they are depressed?
Okay. In the beginning, I would say that my husband is the one that actually reached out for help on my behalf. In that he saw that I was not functioning, like I was just a little bit off. My thinking was slowed down, and that I was very bad at decision making, in that I was very indecisive. So he knew that there was something wrong with me. And in Perth, they do have an emergency mental health service. And they did send somebody out to my house to actually assess me. And the hospital closest to me, it's Bentley Hospital. And subsequently, what happened was, kind of like my husband would take me down to the hospital. So we present ourselves at the triage, and we wait to see the psychiatrist that is on duty. And then he would actually assess me to know if, kind of like I'm really off and really need to be hospitalized. Most of the time when I did present myself at the hospital, it results in a hospitalization. And through my 13 admissions in hospital over a period of 3 years, basically I have learned to use the hospital as a resource. In the beginning, it's like, get me out of here, I don't belong. Because there were times when I go and I see my psychiatrist for my normal checkup, and then I'm found to be non-compliant. And it's like there and then, I get put into the locked up ward. And, and my husband is told to go home, pack my stuff and bring my stuff to the hospital. And so in the beginning, I think both of us fought the system, as in like, I didn't want to be admitted. For me, it's like, I don't belong here. I'm not one of them. I'm not a loony. I don't want to be locked up. But what I found through the 13 admissions is basically that if I present myself in the hospital early on in the dip, before I really hit rock bottom, if I present myself early, I'm in there for a short time and I'm out quickly. But if I had allowed myself to stay at home and try and cope, and I had gone down to rock bottom, to the bottom of the pit, it takes me a much longer time staying at the hospital to eventually get out. And so this is what this is the pattern that my psychiatrist noticed. And she actually wanted to meet my husband and tell him, hey, look, if you see she's not functioning, you just got to tell her, pack her bag and come in. And then it's like probably from midway of the 13 admissions to the end, I learned to use the hospital as a resource. And then I learned to actually put up my hand to say, I need help. I'm not coping. All right. And I would actually drive myself to the hospital and and ask to be seen. And so it's like through the 13 admissions, I actually spent some time reflecting to see kind of like, what did the hospital do for me? What did the hospital do for me that helped me to get better? And what the hospital did for me was it gave me a time out. It gave me a time out from my duties at home, from having to take care of the children, having to take care of the house. It gave me a time out. And then over time, I got a bit wiser, and I said, hey, I can give myself a timeout. I can give myself a timeout. I can factor that into my life without the hospital giving me a timeout. And so what happened is that my children were all in full day school, in primary school, and husband's off to work. So every Monday morning, from the time everybody leaves for school, leaves for work, to the time about 12 to 2 p.m., that is my time. So I actually will go to a cafe, sit down, have a coffee. Sometimes I have a big breakfast, and I'll read the papers, read the magazines, and this is just my time. Okay, so I actually block kind of like my time, self-care. Okay, so what I've learned is if I don't take care of myself, I am really not in a position to take care of the family. And if I take time, just that little bit of time, 1 week, there are 7 days. Out of the 7 days, I just take half a day. That is my time to take care of myself. And after which I go back and I'm happy to take care of the family. And during that time of time out, that gives me the time to recharge, to rejuvenate, to fill my own cup. Because if I'm running on empty, I basically do not have anything good to offer my family. But when I take that time to fill my cup, then I have got good things to offer them. Sure. Because when I come back from my timeout, I come back happy. I come back happy, and then I'm happy to serve. I'm happy to cook, to wash, to clean, and to take care of everybody else, because I've taken care to take care of myself. So like if you take the aeroplane, and they always have that safety demonstration at the beginning, and they always tell you, put on your own mask first, and then attend to your child. So in the same way, in our everyday living, we need to kind of like put on our own mask first, take some time for self-care, and then we are in a better position to take care of everybody else. And I'll share with you one experience. It was the holidays. It was school holidays, and the kids were all at home. And I didn't feel that I should be taking a time out. I was feeling guilty of taking a time out. And so what I did was, it's the holidays, I decided to forego my time out. And then I found myself in hospital, waiting for a bed. And as I was waiting for the bed, I started to journal. And as I journal, I was like, okay, so what are the events that actually lead me to this admission? And it just dawned on me as I'm journaling, no wonder I didn't take my time out. And that's why I'm in here again. So from then on, I sort of religiously take a time out. I take a time out religiously, as in like, I really block it off on my calendar that this is my time out. Nobody bugs me. Okay, hubby knows, the children know that this is my time out. Mom is just out of bounds. Okay, and so that has kept me well. That alone, having that time out, has actually kept me well. I haven't had a dip since 2013, 2014. Okay, so yeah. And so yeah.
Yeah, so I was just gonna ask, so is denial the norm, I guess, is that something that's normal usually with people with individuals who are depressed? Is that the first thing that comes to mind, is to deny it?
Okay, I think it helps with the proper kind of like if you meet the right medical doctor. Okay, because previously I had a male GP, and when I told him about mental health issues, it was kind of like brushed aside, go deal with it. Okay, that was what I had received. And then I met a senior female GP, and she totally understood depression. She told me having depression is like you have a roll of ribbon. Okay, if that roll of ribbon is neatly tucked in your pocket, you can perform. You can function, you are fine. However, when that roll of ribbon gets out of your pocket and unrolls on the floor, that is when you are not able to function. And therefore, it's like there is a need to kind of like manage our lives such that we don't have that roll of ribbon unrolling on the floor. If that makes sense to you.
Right, yes, it does actually.
Yeah.
So the other question is like, what, I guess, does hypnosis work? I've heard different things on just on depression, or a way to treat a depression, and one of it I've read where it's like hypnosis does hurt. Is that something you've tried? Have you ever tried hypnosis, or what are your thoughts
I
on
have
that?
not tried. I have not tried hypnotism. No, I haven't. But I will share with you something that my psychologist told me. Okay, my psychologist. One of the things that he told me is basically walking. I need to walk until I sweat. Okay. Any form of exercise for at least 30 minutes a day. And walking is the kind of like the easiest, lightest form of exercise. So I do brisk walking, fast walking for 30 minutes, just so that, to the point that I sweat. Okay, because when you reach the point where you sweat, your body actually produces endorphins, which is the feel-good chemical. And so kind of like if you keep moving, it is much better for depression than if you were to say remain seated
Right.
in a passive position. So even while I was in hospital, I
Mhm.
find that there are times where I had to occupy myself. And so when it's meal times, they actually lock all the doors so that all the patients stay in and have their meal. But
Mhm.
after the meal, they normally unlock the doors. And when they do that, I normally go and walk the quadrangle. And I will just keep walking, keep walking, keep walking. So that's my exercise.
Mhm.
And I found that one of the times when I was in hospital, it's through that walking, 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 walking that I realized I had snapped out of it.
I see.
Yeah,
Because
so
walking does create
yes, that
that
is
motion,
correct.
and your body has to engage and in what you're doing rather than, like you said, just sitting in a passive position. Your mind is just like idle at that point.
Yeah, and kind of like if you're walking and you're outdoors, there's a lot of good benefits. It's like you're walking, you're exercising,
Mhm.
right? And then you are actually, if there is nature around you, I think it's quite therapeutic.
Mhm.
And that walking exercise actually clears your mind. Being out there in the open and all that, it actually clears your mind,
Right.
and I think it also creates flow. Instead of being stagnant, it creates that flow.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I find that walking is a really good strategy that I have used and I continue to do every day. Every day. Like this morning, I had gone and I had done my walking, my stretching, my deep breathing, and that keeps me in kind of like good working order.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you mentioned a couple good points, which is, to have time out to yourself, right? Where you just block it off. And when you do walking, when just you incorporate that, what happens in the event that someone is not able to get themselves to move? There's a situation where just a severe depression. What advice would you have for that individual?
Um, okay. I have been in the position where I've been stuck.
Mhm.
I have been in the position where I'm just running round and round and round the house and I'm just not able to function.
Mhm.
Uh, um, I would say that um, basically the person has got to want to help themselves.
Mhm.
If the person does not want to help him or herself,
Mhm.
nobody can actually help that person. So it's for that person to realize that um you can remain stuck in that position,
Mhm.
but what does it do for you?
Yeah.
What does it do for you to remain stuck in that position? Are you enjoying it? Kind of like, is there a better way to live your life?
Mhm.
um yeah, because basically, if you don't help yourself, nobody can actually help you.
Yeah, and you
And
have to ask that for help too. If you have to reach out to, you have to extend that hand in order to receive that help. So I can see where that can be. If you don't ask for help, it's very difficult to get it.
yes, I mean, like, I did say that there were times in my life in the beginning
Mhm.
when I didn't understand, didn't know what I was going through. And it was hubby who saw that I was not right and he sought help.
Mhm.
But there were also other times in my life, especially around the time that I had slit my wrist, where I really realized that if I don't help me, nobody can.
Mhm.
If I don't help me, it's like Nobody can. And everybody around me is actually suffering because of my unwillingness to help myself. The people around me cannot get on with their lives. You know, like my kids are missing out on, social activities and all that because mom's not in a position to fetch them, you know? So, yeah, and it's like, when I was not functioning, it was like time stood still for the family in that they were not able to participate in social activities with other people.
Yeah.
And that it dawned on me that if I don't help myself, really, nobody can.
Yeah. And seeing that is it impacts everything in your life. Depression is not just you only, but the people around you. Like you said, like your family, your kids, they also live that as well.
Yes.
So it's a very tough thing to be in. So the other thing, what I want to know is, in terms of depression, what causes it? Would you agree that the negative self-talk that one has in their mind, would you say that contribute to it?
Yep. Um, okay. I would say that sometimes the way we live our life
Mhm,
is not sustainable. Like for example, I think there are lots of women out there who try to be super mom.
mhm,
Okay. Yeah, I take the kids for various enrichment classes, and I try to be the best that I can be for the kids.
mhm,
And I tried to be super mom, and I found that my red cape went up in flames, and I was put in a position where God just swiped everything off my plate. Before that, I tried to send the kids for Kumon, for piano, for vac swim, for BSF,
mhm.
and God basically swiped everything off my plate. I couldn't run. I couldn't send them for all these enrichment. And God said, just be just mom. I
Mhm.
don't need you to be super mom. I just need you to be just mom.
Yeah.
And just mom, it's just do the basic, and the basic is cook, wash, clean, and provide them a home where
Mhm.
they can grow up in. I don't have to buy them expensive toys. I don't have to send them for enrichment classes. I just need to provide them a safe and secure home. I just need to be there to cook, wash, and clean. I just need to be just mom and
Mhm.
just do basic. So I found that, some of that depression, it's actually caused by myself,
Mhm.
by my own expectations of what I want to do for my kids.
Mhm.
And it's like, it's way over the top and it's not sustainable. But when I scale back my expectations
Mhm.
and just do basic, I can, you
Yeah.
know? So, yeah, and then for women, I think that some of it is due to hormonal imbalance,
Mhm.
okay, in us. Like my thyroid is underactive. So thyroid being underactive, it's like you tend to feel tired, lethargic. Thyroid affects hormone levels.
Mhm.
So then it affects the level of energy you have.
Mhm.
Okay, so that is a contributing factor to depression. The other thing about women, it's iron.
Right.
Okay, so I find that when I am low in iron, I am also low in energy. So with medical intervention, I have I am on thyroid medication for underactive, and like my iron at the beginning of this year was at 7. In February, it went up to 20 in June, and then it went up to 31 in August.
Wow.
And the healthy range is 30 to 200. So I have not arrived, but I am within healthy range. And I am making a very conscious effort to increase the iron. So like the naturopath told me, liquid iron is actually more readily absorbed by the body. So I take a satchel of Spartone liquid iron. And then there is a brand of multivites, it's called Fusion. And they actually have got Chinese herbs in there to increase iron. So I take their advanced iron formula, 2 tablets. And a Chinese doctor that actually concocts medication through herbs, she told me that Chinese dates with dried longan, you kind of like boil some water, put in the dried dates and the longan, cook it for 15 minutes, and round about the last 3 minutes, crack in 2 eggs and put it in there. And I've been having that as breakfast, and I found that that has hugely improved my iron.
Wow.
Because dates are very high in iron. So
Yes.
if there are people, who, like, if you have depression, do get your thyroid checked out, do get your iron checked out, because these are 2 that contribute to having that lethargy and that low energy. Yeah.
So what would you say to young kids who are battling with depression?
Okay, talk to someone. Talk to someone. Let somebody know that you are, having this issue, because I will tell you this, that basically why I speak out about depression is basically because when I speak out about depression, depression cannot hold me as prisoner. Okay? Whereas if I were to keep that problem within myself, then I am kept prisoner by depression. However, when I share freely that I have got depression, it's like it does not happen immediately, but it's like over a period of time, years, that slowly I overcome. And that, slowly, depression has got no hold in my life. Okay? And I want to share that through depression, I actually learned a very important life skill. And that life skill is resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back after a setback. And so when my kids were growing up and they were learning to walk, I used to tell them, when you fall down, pick yourself up again. When you fall down, pick yourself up again. And then I tried to kill myself, and I slit my wrist, and I was in hospital. So the plastic surgeon had sewed me up, and I was kind of like regaining consciousness in the ICU. And there was a nurse beside me, and it was near Mother's Day. So I had some handmade cards from my girls. I've got 4 girls. Okay, the 3 big girls had made me cards. And the eldest one actually made me a card that said, "Mom, you have always taught us, when you fall down, pick yourself up again." And at this moment, we need you to get your act together. We need you to pick yourself up again because we need you in the family. And it was then that I realized that with children, you cannot just say with your mouth and expect them to catch the lesson. You basically have to show them by example. You know, you say you fall down, you pick yourself up again. You have to show it. And so through my journey of depression, the challenge to myself was, how can I pick myself up faster after each time? Okay, so like in the beginning, when I have an admission in hospital, like I'm in there for 6 weeks before I come out again. And then subsequently, it's like, how can I shorten that? How can I shorten that time period that I'm in hospital? You know, and then it's like I even tried very drastic measures. Like, for example, I read the book on neuroscience by Norman Doidge, The Brain That Changes Itself. And he talked about the brain, that there's an analogy he gave in the book about this person trying to ski down the slope. And the brain will always try to find what's the shortest way to ski down the slope. And when I learned that, I said, okay, I am going to do something to shock myself out of it. So it was winter, and I felt that I was having a dip. And so what I did was I decided to do it cold turkey. I went and I had a cold shower. Winter, it's cold. I had a cold shower just to shock myself out of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So basically, I tried all sorts of things, and basically, it became a personal challenge to myself. Every time I have a dip, how fast can I get out of it? You know, it's like I find myself at the bottom of the pit again. So I will scramble. I will struggle and push and try and get myself out, as fast as I can. So then it's like from few weeks, to kind of like shortening the weeks, and then to shortening the days, to learning how to kind of like snap out of it.
It's almost like you have to retrain yourself,
yes,
recreate yourself, and just to be able to move forward, because it's a challenge, and each time you shorten it, you're making an improvement, and that alone gives you the incentive to push harder because the progress you're making.
And basically, you get the self-satisfaction.
Right.
You get the self-satisfaction. I'm getting it. I'm beating depression,
Yeah.
And that I'm overcoming.
Yeah.
I'm overcoming.
It's a great feeling.
Yeah, and it's like we are not meant to remain same old till the day we die.
Absolutely.
We are meant to work on ourselves and be a better version of ourselves every day. Every day, kind of like, how can I be better at it? How can I be better at it? And nobody can do it for you.
Exactly.
Nobody can do it for you. You have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
For things to change, first, I must change.
Yep.
If I don't change, nothing changes.
Absolutely. I mean, it's, if we're not doing one, we're doing the other, So
yes.
Which one is better for us? We have to be able to decide what is best for us.
Okay, I'm going to share a few words where there's just a slight change in the letter, and it makes a world of difference.
Absolutely.
Okay? For example, depression. If you have depression, you can choose to be bitter about it, bitter, or you can choose to get better with the E. Difference between the I and the E. World of difference.
Absolutely.
The other one is you can choose to be a victim of depression, or you can choose to be a victor of depression.
Absolutely.
It's your choice.
Yeah.
It's
Life
choice.
is all about choice. We just have to make that choice. What is that we want? And, it boils down to choices.
Yes.
So either we choose one or we choose the other. So it's where do you want to be becomes the question.
You choose your choice, and you have to live by your consequence.
Absolutely.
You choose your choice. You choose to be bitter, you live by that consequence. You choose to be better, you live by that consequence.
Absolutely.
So back to the slitting my wrist, right? The act of slitting my wrist took only a short time. But because I severed my nerves, for 10 weeks I can't drive. And that is my consequence. If I make a poor choice, a wrong choice, I have to live by the consequence.
Yeah.
So my consequence was 10 weeks, I cannot drive. I had to live with that inconvenience of not being able to drive. So kind of like, if you choose better, the benefit is all yours.
Absolutely.
If you choose poorly, you have to go through the consequence.
Absolutely.
So
life is about choices.
Yes, life is about choices.
Life is full of choices. Yeah. I do appreciate you taking the time out. So if anyone wants to reach you, how can they reach you, or to get access to your series of your videos? And
okay, so I do post in the various groups. They are also on my personal profile under my name, Rosalind Tay. I do have a Facebook group. It's called Committed Relationships. I do have a Facebook page. It's also Committed Relationships. And I am going to put this series, How to Navigate Turbulent Times, into Mastermind Marketplace. So when I have completed the series, I will put it in there, and it will be for sale in there. And the other program that I do, it's Improve Your Connection. This is basically for couples. My passion area is basically couples staying together, and I deal with another taboo topic, which is sex. Okay. And I basically deal with demand and supply of physical connection, because that is another area that people do not talk about. And that is where people also fumble, and so yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today. I mean, you've given us and our viewers and our community a lot of valuable information, and that is, just to recap, movement is very important. Obviously, we have to change our state of mind. It all starts in a mind. Choices, I mean, the choices we make, we have to decide what we want, and we have to be able to live with that consequences, and to seek out help. I know a lot of time it's difficult for people to ask for help because we internalize everything within ourselves. So therefore we think it's only happening to us, but the reality is, and the fact of the matter is, everyone goes through some type of depression one way or the other in their life. So I think the more we open up ourselves and connect with other people, then we begin to see that we're not alone, and that we all are together in this. So yeah, thank you so very much. I really do appreciate you coming out today to speak with me and with our community.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you inspired our viewers today, and you certainly have inspired me and you have touched me. So I really do appreciate you and continue the good work, and we'll definitely stay in touch. And we'd love to have you again. So thank you, Ross. I really do appreciate you, and we'll talk soon.
Okay.
Thank
All
you
right.
for stopping
See
by
ya.
today. Good night. Bye.
Okay.
سب 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 سمنون كم وقت سب عنتا خمسة سمنون كم وقت سب سمنون سموغاني قدر كاب عدنا عودن سمنون سموغاني قدر كاب زنان شمال